Hey guys, my name is Cody Jones, and I'm a regenerative farmer here in Central Missouri. And I love stories, and I love sharing stories and learning from stories. And one of my favorite stories, one that had a big impact on me when I came back into farming full time, is the parable of the bags of gold. This isn't a religious channel, but this does happen to be a short story, short parable written by or told by Jesus Christ, and it's written in the Bible. If you want to look it up, it's Matthew chapter 25 verses 14 through 30. And so Jesus did a lot of talking through parables, which parables are just basically short stories that tell a lesson. And the parable of the bags of gold is one of my favorites, one that I've taught a few times, and one that just gets me really excited because it not only applies to people and the gifts that God gives us and stewardship in the church and with our faith, but it also applies so well to the business of farming, especially regenerative farming, regenerative ranching. And I get so excited when I talk about it. And so the story of the parable of the bags of gold is this. There's a wealthy man, he's getting ready to go on a long extended trip, and so he calls in 3 of his servants. If you want to call them farm hands or team members or whatever works for you, you follow along, make up your own story. That's what I tend to do. So this guy, he's a wealthy guy. He calls in his 3 servants, and he says, "Look, I'm going on a long trip. You've got the most talent. I'm going to give you 5 bags of gold." The second guy, he said, "You've got the second most talent. I'm going to give you 2 bags of gold." The third guy, he gave 1 bag of gold. And then he goes on his trip. And so while he's gone, the first servant, he says that he gives these servants based on their abilities, or their gifts, their talents. And so the first servant, he goes out with the 5 bags of gold and he doubles it. And then the second servant with the 2 bags of gold, he goes out and he doubles it. The third servant goes out and he knows that his master is a wealthy man. He's a hardworking dude. He's a very strong, powerful businessman. And he gets scared and he hides that money to make sure that he can give it back to him when he comes back. And so later on, the master comes back and he has his meeting with his servants. The first servant comes in. He says, "Master, you gave me 5 bags. Here's 10. Second guy says, "Yeah, master, you gave me 2 bags. Here's 4. And the third guy says, "Yeah, master, I did a great job. I didn't lose a single penny of or single gold coin. Here's your bag of gold back." And so the third guy gets kicked out basically and gets fired. And the first 2, the bag of gold from the third guy gets given to the first guy, and the first 2 guys that did a good job with what they were given, they were blessed with more responsibility, more talents. They basically got a promotion, and they got to share in the harvest, and everything was great for them. And so the story is basically saying, use what we're given, and wherever you're at right now, do a good job with it. Be a good steward. And that was one thing that my dad and grandpa always instilled in me, is that we have to take care of what we're given. Grandpa was always big on reminding me that, we don't own anything here. These are God's cattle and we work for him. And whether you're religious or not, I think you can take some stuff from this story, you can apply it to your own context. But this is my story, and I do appreciate you following along. And then my dad, he always taught me, we have to do a good job of taking care of the land. Another thing that they like to say is that if you don't take care of the cattle, they can't take care of you. And so when I came back to farming full time, Dad and Grandpa farmed conventionally, and I've come into the regenerative side of things, and I had to look at a lot of things and say, what you're doing is fine, but I don't just want to maintain what we've got. I want to build the soil. I want to build the community that I live in. I want to build, I want to feed people better beef, more nutritious beef. And so the best way that I found to do that when I came home to farm full time is getting into regenerative side and doing it with livestock. This is what works for me. This is my story. So I started with, just a few cows, and I keep building my herd, and then I got a few goats, and I didn't like that, so I sold them, and I turned them into sheep, and I've grown my herd. I'm doing the best job that I can of stewarding them. Another thing, so in regenerative agriculture, I think most of us would say, I shouldn't speak like that. I would say that the things that I really care about kind of come from Alan Savory's notion of the holistic view, looking at the land, the livestock, and the people. And if all 3 of those pieces don't come together, then we're not going to be profitable. We're not going to be we're not going to be doing a good job. We got to look at that whole picture. And so for me, looking at the land, cattle do an excellent job of coming out here on these low quality forages that we grow naturally. This Kentucky 31, weeds, trees. I've seen them eat just about everything, a little bit of it, and they turn these things that you and I couldn't eat and survive on, and they turn them into high quality beef. And it's just a wonderful system that I believe God's created for us. And so we grow the grass-fed beef, we grow the grass-fed lamb, and not saying anything's wrong with crop farming or that you can't do a great job of crop farming and be regenerative. I see a lot of really cool things happening. It's just more capital intensive, and this is how I got started. With livestock, especially if you get in with sheep, you can go out there and you could start regenerating the land, rotating your sheep around, building your nutrient content, invigorating the soil health and the soil life, and you can do that in a pretty short period of time, and that's exciting. It's cheap, it's easy. You get your feet wet, you can start building your business. You could sell directly off the farm to customers, high quality meat product. The research is in now, and it says that grass-fed beef and grass-fed lamb and these grass-fed products are packed with nutrition. It's just nature's way, God's way, however you want to look at it. So livestock has been my method of choice for regenerating the land. Then we look at the livestock, and I'm selecting for cattle that are efficient and adapted to my environment. I grow some grass-fed beef, some grass-fed lamb, but we also raise genetics here. That's a big part of what we do, and I'm selecting cattle that I believe, and I'm working towards a herd basically that's early maturing. So heifers that are going to breed by 14, 15 months, which means they calve at 2 years old. They get bred back, and they calve on time every year until basically they're old enough to drink. We want to be able to create a consistent animal that's able to wean a profitable calf every year until she's in her teens, is the goal. And my family started in the registered Angus business, so that's where I'm at. These cattle are doing a great job. I'm still learning. These cattle look different than my dad and grandpa's a little bit. We've gone back to things that we've learned in the past. You can't grow really efficient cattle bred for grain to eat grain and do that all out here in a regenerative way without feeding grain. And so our frame size has come back down a little bit more moderate. Our efficiency has gone up. We're getting to where we're trying to run these cattle all the way through winter on salt and mineral in a bale of hay for in case of emergency. I'm not saying I'm there yet, but that's what we're working towards. And we're able to run more cattle, so more pounds and dollars of profit per acre. So that's looking at all the different pieces of this. We're doing it without with the cow herd, we're not feeding any grain, we're not feeding any or we're not using any fly sprays or insecticides of any kind. And that's our goal with our cows. Now with the bulls, we have to be profitable with them. We have to get them in condition to be able to sell and to market. And as we grow and get better at that, we'll be more regenerative with them too. But you can see they are getting about 1% of their body weight in a non-GMO or Milo, which Milo's a non-GMO, but that Dad grows. And then we're giving them alfalfa hay, good alfalfa mixed hay, and we're keeping these bulls growing. These are yearling bulls. We're trying to sell them before, at about 14, 15 months, and I'm not getting to where I can move them every day. I'm not, in sync with nature as much as I'd like to be with them, and I'm getting them there. So we all go through this process, and once the process gets there, and we've got a good amount of bulls that are, and I'm able to move them a few times a day and get them conditioned for selling. We'll probably go to selling them at 18 months, not feeding any grain. And of course, if you're moving them that often, you probably don't need to use any kind of insecticide on them or anything like that. But so it's all a process that we're going through, and I'm working to be as good a servant as I can be on the way there. And I'm working to create, 5 more bags of gold, or however many more bags of gold I was gifted. And then the people side of things, dealing with customers, to me in business, is one of the best things you could do. I've heard it said, I don't remember if it was Bezos or who said it, but the more people you serve, the more money you get, you know. So the best servants make the most money in business. I love that concept. I think that's really exciting. Um, but it doesn't just apply to business, right? I really care about the community. I think community is one of the best things that we can build around us. I think that we've lost a lot of our moral compass, and I think that's just because we're not as connected to people as we used to be, you know, 50, 100 years ago. And so, you know, working with people one-on-one in my community, providing grass-finished beef direct to consumer, I think is huge. Selling these bulls, you have to have a high level of integrity to be able to sell a bull to somebody. And back that bull up and take care of your customer, and then, you know, you build that relationship because you want them to come back. And you know, so from the business side of things, that's really cool. As far as doing other things to shepherd people, I volunteer some in the community, doing different things. I hope that you do that. I hope that if you have a passion for agriculture, that you're able to not just stay in your agriculture bubble, but step out into your community in different ways and get involved and show other people what we do. Share your story. You know, I've got this YouTube channel because of that. I'm here. I'm trying to sell bulls, but also I want to educate the next generation of people coming on. I have a passion for that. I love that. I love to talk about livestock and cattle, even if you don't think black cattle are right for you, or you don't want to run hair sheep on your property. You know, that's okay. We're here to learn together, and it doesn't mean that I can't share my knowledge with you. You can't learn something from me, and we can both grow together in that. And I think there's a lot of value in that. The other piece of family for me is taking care of my personal family, my kids. I want to raise them up in church. I think that's, again, this is my story. That's super valuable to be able to build that church community. We've got a strong church community here that is full of wonderful people. It's a farm community, but there's just not as many farmers as there used to be. So, you know, we get to share our experiences. We get to talk about cattle and you know, whatever else we're doing at church. And some people are like, oh yeah, that's cool. I never even thought about that. But we also, you know, getting our kids involved and showing them respect and how to give back and how to, you know, volunteer and those kinds of things. I want my kids to be good humans, and I want to also make money at this. I want to provide them a way to come back, and I want them to be excited about coming back as the next generation of farmer and feeding the next generation of your kids, or you know, their friends and neighbors, and be a part of this community. And so I just think community is huge. And so anyway, this is my story. I don't know what yours is, but I would love to hear about it in the comments. And I probably won't do too many Bible stories, but this is one of my favorites, and I love talking about it. And I just think that Jesus was a wonderful storyteller, one of the best. This is the most popular book in the world for many generations for a reason. And you know, the letters written in red. Jesus was a great storyteller, and I just think it applies to business and farming and families and faith. And you can apply this story to a lot of things. But anyway, if you guys like this content, like, subscribe, follow for more. If you love the short stories, let me know. I love stories. I love sharing stories. I love finding stories that I want to share and applying it to agriculture, applying it to my life. And so if you like these, leave a comment. Let me know you want to see some more. So we sure appreciate you guys. Stay warm.